Never imagined that turning 71 would breathe fresh purpose into my days, especially after losing James 3 years ago. His absence turned our home into a hollow shell, echoing with faded laughter and unspoken regrets. Friends whispered that time would soften the edges of grief, but instead it carved deeper grooves of isolation. Mornings blurred into evenings with only his framed photo on the knit stand as company, its gaze a silent reminder of what once was. The quiet wasn't just empty, it pressed in, heavy and unrelenting until one afternoon. The weight became too much to bear alone. That's when I wandered into the local animal shelter, seeking any spark to fill the void. There, in a corner kennel, I spotted Milo, a striking ginger cat with eyes like polished amber, his fur soft as a whispered promise. He leaned into my hand immediately, as if recognizing the ache I carried. Beside him sat Max, a gentle Labrador whose warm brown gaze held a quiet wisdom, his tail thumping softly against the bars. Something stirred in me, a flicker of connection amid the chaos of barks and meows. I left that day with both of them, and suddenly, the house hummed with life again, their presence chasing shadows from the corners. At first, Milo and Max were simply companions, easing the sting of solitude with their everyday rhythms. Milo would curl on my lap during quiet evenings, his purr a soothing vibration that melted the tension from my shoulders. Max, ever loyal, would rest his head on my knee, his wet nose nudging me gently when tears threatened. Their instincts amazed me. If sorrow crept in at night, Milo would perch nearby, his paws kneading softly as if to stitch my heart back together. Max's deep, empathetic eyes seemed to say more than words ever could, pulling me from the brink of despair. It felt like James had returned in fragments through their unwavering warmth and silent understanding. As weeks turned to months, our bond deepened in ways I hadn't anticipated. On a balmy summer evening, as I sifted through old photos of James, the familiar pang gripped my chest, squeezing tight. Max approached then, his steps deliberate, settling beside me on the couch. He lifted his head, locking eyes with mine, and in that moment a profound empathy flowed between us, stealing my breath. His nose brushed my hand, warm and insistent, coaxing fresh tears that finally released the pent-up sorrow. From that night, our mornings began with their gentle greetings, Milo purring softly as he waited for my touch. Max sitting sentinel by the bed, his presence a guardian against the dawn's chill. We ventured out together, strolling through the park where sunlight filtered through leaves, casting golden patterns on the path. Milo wandered a bit ahead, his independent spirit shining as he paused to chase a fluttering leaf, while Max stayed close, his body a steady shield against the world's rush. Their loyalty wrapped around me like a soft blanket, teaching me to notice the small joys again, the rustle of grass, the distant birdsong. I no longer dreaded returning to an empty home. Instead, I anticipated their welcoming eyes and the comfort of their nearness, which filled the air with a subtle healing energy. One stormy night, as thunder rattled the windows, even aloof Milo sought refuge, climbing onto the bed and tucking his muzzle under my arm. Max joined, laying his head on my legs, his gaze steady and reassuring, as if silently promising protection from the chaos outside. In that cozy huddle, a revelation washed over me. We weren't just sharing space. We were intertwined, their care mirroring my own growing devotion. Simple moments like Milo batting at a yarn ball or Max standing watch by the door infused my days with renewed interest, their unconditional affection becoming the anchor I'd lost with James. Yet, amid this warmth, subtle shifts began to emerge, stirring an undercurrent of unease. I couldn't sleep that night, the old house creaking in the darkness, moonlight painting faint patterns on the walls. Max lay at the bed's edge, his amber eyes fixed on me with an intensity that hummed in the air. There was something unspoken in his gaze, deeper than mere companionship, that sent a shiver through me. Hesitantly, I reached out, my fingers brushing his fur, and a spark-like warmth leaped between us, soothing yet unsettling. Max edged closer, pressing against my side, his breath warm on my skin, igniting a cascade of emotions I'd long suppressed. Loneliness had blurred boundaries, awakening memories buried under grief. Could isolation have woven such intricate threads between us? From then on, Max shadowed my every move, anticipating my moods as if reading my soul. His tilted head and lingering stares hinting at an unvoiced dialogue. But as these feelings intensified, I sensed a quiet storm building, one that would force me to confront the fragile line between comfort and something more profound. The Those restless nights lingered, the house's shadows stretching longer as I grappled with the unspoken pull toward Max. His presence had become a double-edged comfort, warm and enveloping, yet laced with a subtle tension that quickened my pulse. I'd wake to find him watching me, his eyes holding a depth that mirrored my own hidden longings. Stirring emotions I thought buried with James, loneliness, I realized could twist even the purest bonds, blurring lines in the quiet hours when the world slept. Milo, sensing the shift, would sometimes join us, his independent purr adding a layer of normalcy. But it couldn't fully dispel the growing unease in my chest. Max's devotion grew more intuitive, as if he anticipated every flicker of my mood. He'd follow me through the rooms, his paws patting softly, his body brushing against mine in ways that sent faint shivers across my skin. One evening, as rain pattered against the windows, I sat in the armchair, lost in memories of James's touch. Max approached, nuzzling closer, his warmth seeping through my clothes like a gentle invitation. I stroked his fur, feeling the rhythmic rise of his breath, and for a moment, the boundary between companionship and something deeper felt perilously thin, awakening a sensual awareness I'd long forgotten. These moments accumulated, each one layering emotion upon emotion until I began questioning my own heart. Was this the grief speaking, or had isolation forged a connection that defied simple explanation? Milo provided balance, his playful antics chasing shadows or curling in sunbeams reminding me of life's lighter side. Yet with Max, there was an undercurrent of intimacy, his lingering gazes and soft presses evoking a quiet thrill, a reminder of human-like closeness in an animal's form. I cherished it even as guilt whispered that such feelings treaded uncertain ground. On darker autumn evenings, when fog clung to the streets, I caught glimpses of Elena, my neighbor, peering from her window with a knowing concern. She was a sharp-eyed woman, perhaps 76 now, her life etched with the kind of wisdom that came from enduring her own losses. Her occasional waves carried an unspoken invitation, but I hesitated, fearing she'd see through my facade. One chilly dusk, she appeared at my door with a steaming apple pie, her smile warm but probing. I welcomed her in, the kitchen filling with the scent of cinnamon. While Max settled at my feet, his head against my leg as if offering silent support, Elena chatted about her grandchildren's latest antics, her voice a soothing cadence that eased the room's quiet. But soon her gaze sharpened, fixing on me with gentle insistence. "You seem different lately," she said softly, stirring her tea. "Something's shifted, hasn't it?" My eyes drifted to Max involuntarily, his presence a tangible weight. I felt exposed, as if she could sense the intimate solace I'd found in him, the way his warmth chased away the cold nights, how his empathy filled the voids James left behind. Her words hung in the air, stirring a chill that had nothing to do with the autumn draft. I exhaled slowly, my voice trembling just a bit. "It's the loneliness, Elena. Since James passed, this house feels so vast. Max, he's been my anchor." She nodded, her expression a mix of understanding and caution, as if she'd walked similar paths. We talked then about grief's deceptive turns, how it could lead us to cling to comforts that blurred realities. Max shifted closer, his fur brushing my skin, sending that familiar spark of connection. Elena's silence encouraged me, drawing out confessions I kept locked away. But her empathy only heightened my inner turmoil as she left. Her parting words echoed, "You can't replace a life with a companion like that, no matter how devoted." They struck like a quiet thunder, forcing me to confront the dependency I'd nurtured. That night I lay awake, Max's eyes meeting mine in the dim light, filled with the same unwavering affection. But now a sadness tinged his gaze, as if he sensed the walls I might need to build. The realization dawned that our bond, while pure, risked becoming a crutch, pulling me from the human connections I truly needed. The following days blurred with introspection, each walk with Max and Milo a reminder of the balance I sought. I'd stroke Max's ears, feeling the soft texture under my fingers, his contented sigh evoking a bittersweet tenderness. Yet Elena's insight lingered, urging me toward change. I began venturing out more, chatting with old friends over coffee, their voices a welcome contrast to the house's hush. Max remained steadfast, his loyalty a gentle constant. But I consciously created space, recognizing that true healing lay beyond our shared warmth. Still, As evenings deepened, doubts resurfaced, whispering of the comfort I'd lose if I pulled away entirely. One twilight, while watching the sunset with Max by my side, his head on my lap, that lingering question haunted my walks. Could I redefine our connection without shattering it? As Max's steady gaze met mine, his warmth a tangible reminder of our intertwined lives. I returned home with the resolve simmering beneath the surface, determined to untangle the emotions that had woven so tightly around us. Milo greeted us at the door, his tail flicking with casual curiosity, providing a light counterpoint to the heavier thoughts swirling in my mind. As I prepared dinner, Max lingered nearby, his presence evoking that subtle sensual pull, the brush of his fur against my leg, the soft rhythm of his breathing syncing with my own. Yet Elena's words echoed, urging me to seek balance beyond this comforting cocoon. The next morning, I stepped out alone for the first time in months, leaving Max and Milo to their sunlit naps. The park paths felt both familiar and foreign, sunlight warming my skin in a way that stirred dormant memories of walks with James. People nodded in passing, their smiles a gentle nudge toward reconnection. It was there I encountered Sarah, a neighbor whose quiet kindness had always hovered at the edges of my awareness. She approached with a warm greeting, her eyes reflecting genuine concern. "How have you been holding up? We've all been thinking of you," she said, her voice carrying the soft timbre of shared understanding. We fell into easy conversation, strolling together as leaves crunched underfoot. Sarah shared snippets of her life, her husband's quirks, her children's milestones, and I found myself opening up, the words flowing like a long-held breath released. The loneliness that had clung to me began to loosen its grip, replaced by the subtle thrill of human connection. A different kind of warmth that didn't carry the same shadowed edges as my bond with Max, back home. Max met me at the door, his tail wagging with unbridled joy. But I noticed a flicker in his eyes as if he sensed the shift. The space I was carving out, encouraged, I joined a book club Sarah recommended. The meeting's a blend of lively debates and quiet reflections. At first, I felt like an outsider, my voice tentative amid the chatter. But soon the stories we discussed mirrored my own tales of loss, resilience, and rediscovered purpose. Laughter bubbled up unexpectedly, easing the ache in my chest, while the group's empathy wrapped around me like a shared embrace. Evenings with Max and Milo remained tender rituals. I'd sit with Milo purring on my lap, Max's head resting nearby, his fur soft under my hand, evoking that familiar, soothing intimacy. Yet now it felt contained, a cherished part without overshadowing the new horizons unfolding. Family ties, too, began to mend as I reached out more deliberately. Calls to distant relatives turned into visits, their hugs a reminder of roots I neglected in my grief. One afternoon, as we gathered over tea, I confessed the depths of my isolation, the way Max had become my silent confidant. Their listening ears and supportive words flooded me with a profound relief, the emotional currents between us rekindling a sense of belonging I'd almost forgotten. Max, ever perceptive, seemed to adapt, his devotion unwavering but less all-consuming, allowing room for these human threads to weave back into my life. Through it all, subtle moments of reflection surface, like when I catch Max's gaze during quiet evenings, his eyes holding a depth that stirred lingering emotions. The warmth of his presence, the gentle press of his body against mine as we sat by the fire, evoked a bittersweet sensuality, a reminder of the comfort he'd provided in my darkest hours. Milo added his own light touches, his playful leaps breaking any tension, but I couldn't ignore how my heart had once teetered on that edge, seeking solace in ways that now felt wisely redirected. Healing, I learned, was a mosaic of connections, each piece essential yet distinct as days blended into weeks. The void James left transformed, not filled entirely, but softened by these layers of support. I'd whisper thanks to Max during our nightly routines, his loyal eyes meeting mine with pure affection, a bond that remained sacred without dominating. Sarah became a frequent companion, our walks infused with shared stories that brought laughter and occasional tears. Her friendship a gentle anchor in the everyday. Yet, amid this progress, old doubts occasionally resurfaced, whispering in the still moments when Max's warmth felt too inviting. One particularly introspective night, as I lay awake, his steady breathing beside me ignited a familiar spark. Could I maintain these boundaries, or would loneliness pull me back into its depths?